Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the MLG studios here in New York City. You're watching a winter season showdowns, best of fives, pretty much every single day, and select Sundays, off on Saturdays between the best players in the world. Of course, every single match is incredibly important. Of course, the winners get a spot at the MLG Winter Championships in Dallas, Texas on March 15th. Today is day number 4 of 28. Did I do the math correctly?
You did.
All right. 56 divided by 2.
Perfectly.
Good. Soulkey versus Last. Last is currently up 2-1. He's 1 win away from qualifying for the championship event again in Dallas, Texas, March 15th. We'll have to see if he can get it done here in game number 4, but before we do that, quick little plug. Facebook.com/MLGPro. You need to go there right now if you want something awesome. And that something awesome is Dr. Pepper Ultimate Gaming House. Facebook.com/MLGPro. Scroll down, click on Dr. Pepper Ultimate Gaming House. We'll take you to this page, and there's instructions there on how you can get yourself hooked up with the latest awesome gaming gear. Plenty of Dr. Pepper, of course, technology, product, and prizes. MLG team will come down there and hook you up. Gotta make a video no more than 5 minutes in length. Introduce yourself, your friend, or your group, and tell us why you or they deserve, the ultimate gaming house. Of course, show the room or area you want to see transformed, and tell us how you are a one-of-a-kind fan of Dr. Pepper and MLG. Awesome opportunity there for any gamers out there.
It is. It is. I mean, I want my room to be more awesome than it is right now, to be honest. Like, my room's kind of
You should
bland.
make a video.
I should. I'll do that.
I don't think you're allowed to, though, because you're an MLG employee.
Yeah. It's all right.
But you guys can. So, I encourage you guys to do that again. Facebook.com/MLGPro. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into Game 4 of this Best of 5 series, where Last, if he wins, he gets that spot in Dallas. Pretty important game we got here.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, both these guys are actually looking pretty strong. Like, Last is looking stronger, but I think a lot of that is just the nature of Terran and Heart of the Storm right now is very, very, very strong. But I have to say these Casper guys are really good. And right now, they're not experts at Heart of the Storm, but you have to realize Dallas is a month off.
Yeah.
Right? And it's also Pro League around that time will start switching over to Heart of the Swarm, and that's what these guys mostly practice for. So I feel the Kessler players are probably going to be some of, if not the biggest favorites in Dallas. And so, winning this match here is really important, because you win this match, all of a sudden you
get a spot.
You get a spot of only 32 spots for $75,000. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of cash.
It's a lot of cash. I mean, it's one thing to have a tournament when there's like hundreds of people competing, you get a spot on that, your odds aren't that high. But 32, man, you've got a good shot at winning it, especially if you're one of these Kespa guys who are just absolutely beastly.
That being said, though, I mean, it's 32 of the best players in the world.
This is true. I mean, you're competing with the likes of Life, Leenock, Flash, Bomber, plus Parting. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's not to mention all the people who are going to qualify, from our future, every day from here on out. It's going to be a new person. A lot of them, top GSL players. In fact, I think we have most of the Codas roster is in the qualifiers. Not all will make it, of course. It's just absolutely, it's going to be insane.
It's going to be crazy. Of course, March 15th is that championship event, and every single day, pretty much at 5 p.m. Eastern here at the MLG stream, it's going to be streamed live. If you're watching this on VODs, try to catch it live. It's a pretty fun experience. Of course, some pluses. You get to interact and chat a little bit. You get to interact in the Team Liquid thread, on the Reddit thread. So always fun to watch it live. But if you miss it, that's okay. Rebroadcasts are happening all day long, and of course, it's available very soon after the match is completed at youtube.com/officialmlgsc2 in full 1080p HD. This is game number 4 in the top right-hand location. We have the Red Zerg player Soulkey, who's currently down 2-1. He has to win 2 in a row against this guy in the bottom right-hand location. The blue Terran player from Team STX, who is 1 win away from getting that spot in Dallas at the Winter Championship event. He is Last.
We're seeing Soulkey really starting to adapt a little more. Last game he went for the speed route, but he still, he still was forced to build a lot of Zerg and Zerd. He still lost a couple drones. So this game is saying, you know what, I should get a queen out earlier by going pool first. And this is a build that you don't see too often in Wings of Liberty, the 14 pool 16 hatch against Terran. And the reason why is because it's very, very expensive and difficult to hold off a 2 barracks push. because you don't have that creep of the natural. You can't build that spine crawler, and just slow Zerglings have a really hard time against mass Marines early on. But it seems like Soulkey's saying, you know what? I can't even worry about that 2 barracks push because he's been clobbering me with these Reaper openings every single game. There's no way to really not take damage to the Reaper with the Hatch first build. I'm going to be losing something because it's so fast, right? So maybe I'll get the Queens much faster, get the first Queen much faster, and that can, you know, push the Reaper away and kind of protect me from that opening.
And I think, you know, along that note, Soulkey might be breathing a little bit of a bit of fresh air there, a deep breath as he scouts up the ramp and sees the barracks on the high ground, because that's something that he hasn't seen in the past 2 games. Of course, having to deal with those very fast Reapers can turn into quite a headache, and of course, those plays could have directly resulted in the losses there from Soulkey. Of course, you know, in the beginning like that, it's not too significant, but the damage adds up, and once a Terran player gets that momentum and keeps you on your toes, they can be very hard to deal with, especially when those Hellbats are incorporated. And it looks like they might be again, as Last is adding on that reactor to the barracks, going to lift that factory over, land it, probably make a couple of Hellions, and it looks like he's going to add on that 3rd command center. So Last playing with economy in mind, but of course starting that Hellion production. Ooh, actually a Widow Mine and a Hellion to start things out.
Interesting, interesting. I'm really curious, is he going to try to push that Widow Mine up the field like he has in some of the past games? Of course, he doesn't have the Reapers. He doesn't have map control right now, so it's not quite as simple, but then the Widow Mine's so fast, there's no speedings or roaches out quite yet. I mean, there can't be unless your opponent's doing something crazy. So it's still pretty safe, I think, to push that Widow Mine up the field. It also makes you so much safer against any type of roach openings because, I mean, the Widow Mine will just, it'll basically almost kill 1 roach and all the rest will be severely hurt.
Yes.
And then that's just the 1 Widow Mine. Right? I mean, you can obviously have the rest of your defense as well. It's an extremely cost-efficient defensive tool.
Looks as like long he's going to put it at the bottom of his ramp here.
Yes. Yeah, using it for that defense. You got to be careful about the friendly fire there. But you're the one who knows where it is and when it's going to time out. So you properly controlling the rest of your units, you should be able to avoid that.
All right, it looks like Last has 2 factories on the field here. The 3rd command center there as well. Also placing down a starport. Fairly standard play. We've seen this from him. Throughout the series, it seems like, as far as this tech route.
Oh, do you see where this Widow Mine's sneaking in? If he gets behind the mineral line, this is exactly what we tried to do last game, except last game, he put it near the hatchery and then detonated on the egg. This game, oh, I think he still put it too close. Yeah, he did. So I think that idea was there to put it out of range of the egg, but if there's a massive drone transfer, all of a sudden nails all those drones. Didn't quite work out this game, but the idea is there. I really love that idea. It's such a cheap way to potentially get a lot of kills. All
right, Overlord going to be scouting in here, seeing that starport, seeing the 2 factories. He should know what's going on.
There's a sneaky little roaches coming around the back banana alley.
Uh-oh.
And, you know, he's pushed both his Widow Mines up the field. He has none for defense. Only a bunker with 2 Marines in it.
He's got a tank in production if he can get that out and sieged up.
Oh, that's true. They start with siege and harvest.
Yeah, of course.
And he does have 3 mules, so he can afford to take some economic damage here.
All right, of course, he needs to pull those SCVs immediately to repair, but look at that. Soulkey's just going to back away. He's going to head toward those rocks, it seems.
I think Soulkey, he didn't have anything following us up, and he was like, well, I could take down that bunker, but he would have, you know, that's all I would probably kill is the bunker Marines. Maybe not worth losing all my roaches, because that's what determines his map presence right now. And, of course, that's his key to defending his Hellbat drop. Ooh, nice little Widow Mine detonation. This Widow Mine is still getting kills.
Yes.
It's up to 5 kills.
Not bad.
And oh, the drones. Better.
They're terrified. They don't know the timer on that.
No, they
that
don't.
Line. Of course, we have the advantage knowing that. There's a scan going down onto Soulkey's lair that is in production, about 80% of the way done. And we have 4 Hellbats on the field. We have a medevac on the field. And we're going to have a drop.
Here we go. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep doing this drop. In fact, wait, there's already a drop action in natural. Hellbats. Oh, the drones are lining up! Oh, no!
Oh, my gosh.
They thought the Hellbats were dead. He's like, I've got 7 roaches. Of course I can kill
I'm afraid to
hit
Control R here.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, no. So there's that one. I think he got like 5 kills, and then that misclick just got him. It was one of those things where there's 7 roaches attacking. So he's like, they'll clear it up by the time the drones get home, right?
Last isn't done here. He's going straight to the main base with more Hellbats. What does Soulkey do?
This time the drones are getting way. Oh, no! Oh!
A lot more drones falling in.
Yeah, and the queen. That queen dies so fast to those Hellbats.
Hellbats are really going to go straight to the third base. There's a Spore Crawler there, but the Hellbat's going to be dropped along the drone line.
Oh!
Look at all these drones frying away to the Hellbats. Soulkey desperately trying to hold on.
Again, they're just going to kill the queens.
He just doesn't have an answer to these Hellbats. Finally going to take those out. I'm like looking around because I promise there's going to be another one. I just feel like there are medevacs everywhere here from last.
And the Ignite Afterburners, it just flew right over that Spore.
Yeah.
It goes so fast, the Spore's not that much of a threat. I mean, this thing is these drops are just brutal. I mean, admittedly, I think Soulkey could have done it better, but a lot of it's getting used to the Hellbat because that first drop, right? What happened is, it's like versus Hellions, right?
Oh, it's not stopping here, Nick. There's another drop in the natural expansion. Drone's trying to run. They're just going to get loaded up there. Instead of medevac going to the main base. Burrow is almost done, thankfully, here for Soulkey. And he's going to try to kill some more drones in the main, but there's already like not a lot of drones there, but the Hellbat's going to get more damage done. Roach is trying to return back to deal with this, but again, the damage from last year is ridiculous. 41 workers killed. The Soulkey's down to 46 harvesters to his opponent's 68, dropping again in the natural expansion. Goodbye Lynx, goodbye a lot more drones. The medevac finally getting taken out. And Soulkey is just having such a hard time dealing with these Hellbat drops.
I mean, the good news is he's been able to try to reproduce his drones. The bad news is behind this, Last is just cranking out this giant mech army. He's got a solid defense with so many siege tanks. Second armory, 2 more. He's gonna have like 5 orbitals in a second here. I mean, his economy is just going crazy, whereas Soulkey's economy is being spent 100%
on making more drones.
On basically trying to not lose those drones. I mean, this is just crazy. You know what I was saying there? I think a lot of the reason Soulkey is taking so much damage is because, you know, for the last almost year now, or half a year, you could say, Soulkey's been playing against Hellion run-bys and Hellion drops, right?
Yeah.
And so he has this idea that, okay, you got 7 roaches by the Hellions, and there's like 1 or 2 Hellions left. You can send the drones back, because by the time they get back to the mineral patch, the Hellions will have died to the roaches, right? And that's exactly what they did in natural, except they're Hellbats, so they have 50% more life. So they got that 1 extra shot off, and that's basically where it was downfall was. And I mean, it's easy to say, oh, he's playing terribly against the Hellbats, but you got to remember, I mean, it's people think of them as Hellions. They think of them as a 100 mineral unit.
Got to make some adjustments.
Yeah, you got to think of the Hellbat as, you know, like a 300 mineral unit, basically, as far as the damage it can do.
Well, here comes the army from last. Plenty of SCVs there as well to repair the tanks. Get a siege up. Hellbat's going to be leading the charge appropriately. Are any of these from before? No, they all have 0 kills, it looks like. Some Roaches going to try to get prepared here from Soulkey, trying to set up a big flank, a big concave. But yeah, Last has so much. He's doing some great job leapfrogging, and Soulkey has no choice but to GG. So Last is going to be your 4th player qualifying for the winter season showdowns, at least among these best of 5 Heart of the Swarm matches. And the story of this series, kind of similar to yesterday, honestly. and yesterday was a TBT.
Yeah, I mean, Hellbats are good, man. Hellbats are good.
The medevacs heal them too.
And the medevacs run faster than workers with Ignite Afterburners. So when they run to workers, you zip on over, drop them right on top of the workers.
Yeah.
It's
all
a
right,
good
let's
technique.
say you're a Zerg player and you're playing against Last. How differently do you play than Soulkey did that game?
I actually think Soulkey had almost the optimal opening. The fast third, I really like that. You know, I think he needed to have his... I think you got to have Roaches waiting. But the thing is I feel like even if you have Roaches following the medevac, the problem is medevac moves fast. You won't have Roach speed. Unless you stay on 2 bases, which then you're on less econ because he has fast 3 CCs. You have less econ than them, and he's going mech, which is the worst thing. So you can't do that. You got to take the third. Unless, I don't know.
Really fast 2 base 4 gas mutas?
Maybe.
Just play really defensively. Don't let those Hellbats
I mean, I think you could survive doing that.
Yeah.
But you're going to be so far behind economically, and he'll still scout you going mutas, obviously, with the drop. He'll come and see the Spire's finished. And he's just going to play 3 base, turtle up for a bit, and then push out later with Thors and tanks. I think Soulkey did it right there. You got to have Roaches camping.
Yeah.
Like, put 5 Roaches.
Okay, so you're saying doing it right, and 47 worker kills there at the end of that game last.
Yeah, well, I mean, the micro could have been a little better, and roaches could have been
What about getting burrow a little bit faster?
Yeah, burrow would help. I mean, at least you make him scan. You know, cost a little extra.
You can like select all your drones in a hold position
Yeah.
and then just split them up that way.
Well, one of the big problems is, like, normally if you put... This is something I've actually experimented with because I've been playing Turn How to Swarm. Like, if you're doing a Hellion drop and there's 6 roaches following your medevac, if you drop those Hellions, they'll get 1 shot, and they might get 1 flamethrower burst off, but it takes 3 flamethrower bursts to kill a drone, and they don't hit that many drones with each flamethrower burst if the drones are mining minerals. And they'll auto-target on the roaches. Now you do the same thing with Hellbats. You have the roaches in mirror line, you drop the Hellbats right on top of them. All of a sudden, they don't die as fast, so they get 2 shots off instead of 1. And the 2 shots off, each shot will only hit 3 roaches with significant damage, 18 instead of 8 on armor needs. But it also, the splash is actually better for hitting drones if you're inside the mirror line. So you're like, the Zerg still has to pull drones no matter what happens. It's just... It's
gotta have
really
fast reaction time. You gotta scout it coming. You have to have good Overlord presence and hope that your opponent doesn't build a Viking. Or, you know, burrow a Ling somewhere on a potential path where medevac might go. But congratulations to Last, taking out Soulkey 3-1 with very strong Hellbat-based play, showing how strong those drops can be. Let's take a look at that week recap going on here. Of course, today is Thursday. We just saw Soulkey versus Last. Yesterday was Innovation TY. You can read the rest of those, of course. Tomorrow, it's going to be Rain versus Flying. And again, if you missed anything, every single game will be on our YouTube channel. If it's not already there, youtube.com/official MLGSE2 in 1080p HD. So, again, a great resource there for you guys. And when you visit, be sure to drop a subscribe as well, so you can stay up to date. But again, coming up tomorrow, it's going to be Rain versus Flying. That's going to be a PvP. That's going to be awesome. Tell your friends about it. And then, of course, Sunday, we're going to have Sase versus Snoot. We got Sase, I think, is he currently teamless? Pretty sure he is. I know Snoot is on Team Liquid, but Sase, he's hit a little bit of a stint in Taiwan, playing in the Taiwan Star League for a little bit. And of course, the day after, on Monday, we're going to have Nurchio versus Baby Knight. So a lot of awesome Heart of the Swarm best of 5 matches coming your way. This is the Winter Season Showdowns, best of 5s, pretty much every single day in Heart of the Swarm to determine who gets a spot at the Winter Championships in Dallas, Texas on March 15th. Coming up next, it's going to be Rules of Engagement with Mr. Axslav. What you going to be doing?
Analyzing the Innovation vs. TY series we saw yesterday. A great TVT, a lot of cool plays there. It was neat to see the players, you know, I thought the coolest thing was the way they controlled the medevacs and the Hellbats. They're so good at pulling them up, dropping them down again, pulling them up, running down workers, cutting off the angles, and also the way they evolved throughout the match to make a more solid defense. You know, placing Widow Mines in good spots, putting Vikings at all the angles. Because, you know, it's all different Heart of the Swarm. It's small differences. You have to change your defense in subtle ways. And they were really, really getting so much better at that as the series went on.
Awesome stuff. Of course, that and more. Rules of Engagement coming up next, guys. And, of course, we'll see you tomorrow with Rain versus Flying.